Well, speaking of a club who certainly feel they don't get any VAR decisions in their favour, Everton have managed to defy these poor decisions against them, as well as a combined 10-point deduction to finish 15th in the table, a whole 14 points ahead of 18th place Luton. However, their issues off the pitch are far from being resolved, as their proposed takeover by 777 has been going on for 8 months, with still no sign of any solution. The latest update comes from Alan Myers, who is a very reliable source when it comes to Everton, and states the following. Everton majority shareholder Farhad Mashiri has extended the agreement with 777 partners to take over the club until the 31st of May. Mashiri had some doubts over the deal, which has taken 8 months so far, but 777 have been given until the end of the month to close the deal. I think as an Everton fan myself, and I know from talking to other people who are also Everton fans, I think it's best for the club if we move on from 777. I don't get Mashiri's obsession with them, because it's clear from what they've done with Standard Liège in Belgium, not paying the players, not paying off the debts there. What they've done to Hertha Berlin, taking them from a team that competed regularly for Europe each season, and most of the time actually got into Europe, a very historic club, taking them from that position all the way down into mid-table in the second Bundesliga. I think it's clear that they're not going to steer the club in the right direction. I know there was rumours also of them selling off the stadium and then having us rent back, which is absolutely ridiculous considering we've effectively lost points because of this stadium, and then to just go, we'll sell it and rent it out is absolutely ridiculous. It basically means losing all these points was for nothing, because you want to stay, as a Premier League club, you want a stadium that you own. You don't want to rent out a stadium to someone else. I think even the fact that they haven't paid off the loan to MSP yet, who I believe can take control of the club if they don't pay off the debt to them. So, which could end up being a good thing, because they could end up selling their stake on to someone else who could come in and make the club successful again and bring us out of the debt we're in. I think at this point, Mashiri's fell out of love with the club. He doesn't really care about it. He's got no money. He's losing it constantly on it. He just wants it. He needs to sell it now. He needs to get it done quickly because it's gone on for far too long. I think we're at the point where, because of how high our expenditures are, I won't be surprised if we go into administration by the end of the year, or even before then, because we've clearly got no money. We can't spend money on transfers anyway until we sell. I know, because we could still break FFP rules again by buying other players, but I also don't think we can buy players because we haven't got the money. I think Kevin Thelwall said the other day, the only way we're going to buy new players this season, next season in the summer, is by selling ones off. I hate to admit this, but I think selling the likes of Branthwaite and Onana, as much as I'd like them to stay, I think selling them off for big money, if the right price comes in, I think it would benefit the squad more selling them off, because not only would we be able to stay under FFP rules, we'd be able to bring in more players, because at the moment there could be a scenario next season where we're only playing with a starting 11 and have youth players on the bench. That's a possibility where we could have just like 6 or 7 subs, maybe even less, of just purely youth players, and have the senior starting 11. And then if one or two of them senior players get injured, then you're basically playing with half an under-23 team. And in the Premier League, that's not viable. You're going to get relegated like that. So I think if we do sell the likes of Branthwaite or Onana for big money, we should be bringing in more players and a substantial amount of good quality players, obviously, but strength in numbers, so that we have backups there in case the players get injured. And on the performance the team have had this season, actually, I think the team have been absolutely brilliant this season, considering what's gone on behind the scenes and everything. I think they had that run of one winning 14, one winning 15 in the middle, where I thought, we're going to go down here because we don't look like we're scoring. He doesn't look like he's got the team gelling. But after the 6-0 loss to Chelsea, it seems to give us a kick up the backside to then go on to then beat Burnley and Liverpool and Brentford and go on this amazing run, which ultimately kept us up, And I think the 10-point deduction does sort of cover up how good a season we've had, because if it weren't for the 10-point deduction, we'd be on 50 points. We'd be closing in on the top 10. And yeah, I think if we can keep the bulk of the team in the off season, we should be all right next season, because I think the clubs coming up will be more of a threat. I think Leicester will be a threat again next year. I think Ipswich will also be a threat, although Leicester could have point deductions again because they broke FFP rules. They could start with a point deduction. I think Ipswich will be a better version of Luton. I think because the club's used to being in the top, like they've experienced being in the top flight before. They'll be more savvy about it and know what they need to do to stay up. And then whether it's Leeds or Southampton, I think if it's Southampton, I don't think they'll compete well, because from what I've seen, they don't look very good in terms. They don't look very clinical and don't take the chances. So I think they could be near the relegation zone, like a Sheffield United next season. And I know if it's Leeds, they will obviously be challenging because they've still got a really good squad. But yeah, I don't think we'll get away with as much as we did this season, because I think the 3 promoted will be better, I think. But I think if we put a performance in like we did this year, getting results out of games, and keep making sure we're still better than your Forest, your Brentford, your Palace, your Fulham even. Make sure you're still better than them teams. I think we should be alright in terms of staying up. But yeah, back on to the ownership of Moshiri. I think even if it's someone like, I know there's been rumours he could be offloading the club to someone in the Middle East, and I know oil money isn't the best as such, but if it means that our club is stable again and we can go ahead and look back towards winning trophies and challenging for Europe, I think I wouldn't mind us getting an owner like that, because I think the fans especially deserve it, because we've gone from in the 80s winning tons of trophies to now not winning a trophy since 1995. And considering how historic our club is and our longevity, especially in the Premier League, or in the top division, so to say, the fans deserve better than what they've been producing in recent years. So yeah, hopefully it's all resolved by the start of next season, but I'm not too sure. Hopefully Moshiri can go and sell the club, and not to 777, because they don't look like they've got any money actually. It could just be basically another Moshiri coming in with no one's got any money. So yeah, we just need to sort of sell. Hopefully Moshiri can sell the club sooner rather than later, because we could be in massive trouble if we don't. Well, to discuss Everton's situation in more detail, I spoke to Everton fanatic Danny Tickle before the last day of the season.